What's up, everyone? Welcome to Around the ACL. Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Jake Brannon. And we are going to talk about Open number 5 that happened this past weekend. Jake was there, so lots to get into. We'll get into the top 10, and man, where there's some top 10 shots this weekend, some crazy things that we saw. Even looking at the top 10 lists from now versus in the past, like the shots on it, they're all crazy. There's not just an airmail or there's not just a roll. It's like crazy stuff happening. So congrats to all you guys. You're killing it out there. We'll go through the top 10 doubles rankings and then we'll answer some of your questions. So let's get into it. Trey, did you get to watch a lot of the cornhole happening this weekend over in Virginia?
Yeah, I got to watch a good bit of it, which was great. It was a great weekend. My Tigers won the ACC championship. I got to watch some great cornhole. We had our little company party. The only problem I see with our run of show is I don't see the 2 bar of soaps that I hit against Jake Brannon in that company holiday party tournament within the same game in the top 10 list. So
wow.
I'm a little bit confused.
Humble brag.
Yeah. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to help, like trying to understand more than anything.
That's just to Corey and I, because we couldn't be there to get that and put it.
Michelle, can you ask her a question real quick? Ask him how many points him and his partner scored in that game.
Let me ask you this, Michelle. Be totally unbiased here, Michelle.
Okay.
Would you rather in a company holiday party tournament where you're getting a random partner playing in an event, you have 2 choices. You can win the game, or you can hit 2 bars of soap, whatever, whichever one.
Pan.
Against, 2 bar of soaps against Jake Brannon. Which one would you choose, Michelle?
I'd probably have to go for the bar of soaps because I don't care.
Thank you very much. I rest my case.
I don't know. That's where we differ.
I don't
know.
Sent that back launching off the board. It was like I literally felt like Eric Davis, or Cash Chamness now. I literally felt like empowered by the cornhole god. So it was great. But yeah,
that's worth it.
I'll be honest. It was very impressive. I got to give it to him. I was not expecting it in the slightest. But when it hit, it was impressive for sure.
That's why it's worth it. There.
It's always worth it. So, but yeah, it was great. And then yesterday, like I said, yesterday was kind of the ACL holiday party, and also simultaneous to that, we can't give a ton of details, but the ACL was very fortunate to be involved in a very special shooting of a video that will air sometime around a big sporting event in the month of February.
Big. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so we can't divulge too much information, but it was a really fun day. Got to have some camaraderie. We did a little company cornhole tournament. We also, had some fun around that shoot. So it was, a great weekend on my side.
Must be nice. Sucks to be in Cali sometimes. So far away. All right, let's get into it. It all happened in Virginia before the fun holiday party. Jake was there, Allison and Wally. Great coverage. Awesome shots. Singles went to Jackson Gore. Doubles, Eric Davis and Ryan Wiedenfeld. And then we had our women's singles. Cheyenne took down singles and doubles with Gina Ramirez. Senior singles, Damon Dennis. Senior doubles, Fresh Scott and Ricky Jernigan. And junior singles, Logan Dupler. Junior doubles, Ethan Farias and Tony Forbes. And I believe Logan Dupler didn't play junior doubles, right? He opted for the blind draw, so couldn't have gone for the singles doubles situation there. I don't know. Have you guys noticed that that's happening? Are a lot of people opting for the blind draw over the doubles for seniors, juniors, women's?
Not a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
Not from. I think Dupler may be one of the first ones, and I think it could simply be because he couldn't find a junior doubles partner.
Got it.
But a lot of the times, these kids they're staying in the junior side, and Dupler still made it to the championship game of his blind draw bracket with rookie ACL pro Denny Vaughn. He ended up getting double dipped, excuse me. But yeah, it was still a good run for Dupler.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense that he couldn't find a partner considering he's so good, but that makes sense as to why he didn't play doubles. But all right, let's get into it. Trey, thoughts on all of our winners and the event?
Yeah, most of my thoughts are on the singles side of things. When I look at the top players that competed at a really high level, one, I got a couple things, and I kind of work my way up towards the top. One player that really impressed me was Jamie Graham, and I know that's hard to do, but I look at what he did, and in a 2-game span, Jamie Graham played 80 rounds of cornhole in a 2-game span. And what a lot we'll probably talk about, and a lot of people's reaction to what Cash Chamness did to Jamie Graham and then followed it up, goes to show the mental toughness that we expect from someone like a Jamie Graham, right? We look at it and we say, Cash Chamness plays a 40-round game against Jamie Graham. He then follows it up playing Jackson Gore. What do you know? Jackson Gore beats him in 7-10 rounds. I mean, it was very quick. Jackson Gore was dominant, and it's because there was this, oh my gosh, this like release of just all this wear and tear and mental exhaustion when you go through a 40-round game. I think that's what impressed me most about Jamie Graham, is that he was able to play a 39, 40-round game against Gabriel Clausen and then turn around and throw another 39, 40-round game against Cash Chamness, one of the young guns in the sport that seems to have no type of, he's always going to have that motor running all the time, just because that's how kids these days are wild. But there is that mental toughness. So for me, Jamie Graham, besides winning the event, for me, goes pretty far up my rankings for being able to do that, to be able to have a really consistent run across the day, a really strong finish. And Jamie Graham has now had multiple events already this season where I think he's playing well enough to win, and he's just maybe having either bad luck or someone's just that much better in one game. That tells me that Jamie Graham is probably going to win one of these events coming up here, whether it's an open or one of the early signature events. I really like the trend that I'm seeing from Graham in that regard. Also, on the single side of things, it's finally good to see Colby Shearer win a bracket. This is someone who, a year and a half ago, right before his rookie season, I started to see Colby Shearer for the first time. And when I saw him, I was watching him play really well at conference events, beating top-level pros. And then once he became a rookie, everybody expected him to have this breakout season, be in contention for the Rookie of the Year, and for a lack of a better way to put it, was a ghost all year. We didn't see him at all near the top finishes of pro events, did not have a great rookie season, but we're now starting to see him, at least in this second year as a pro, starting to finish well enough to be close in those conversations of being one of the top young players in the game. Again, he was just really a year late, so it was really good to see that. Mark Richards on my front. I'll tell you what, he's scary right now. He's starting to look like the Mark Richards of old. We're talking about him possibly winning back-to-back events, and if it weren't for the next person that I'm going to talk about, he would have won back-to-back events. I got to see a Final Four laid out in our bracket. It was Trey Birchfield, Jordan Power, Matt Guy, Mark Richards. All four of those in one Final Four of the winner's bracket. They went head-to-head. They battled it out. And when you go into that pit and be able to emerge as the victor in that Final Four, then go on, make quick work of a red-hot Colby Shearer and sit in the finals, I think that was incredible to watch. I would even argue that it may have been Jamie Graham's fault that Mark Richards didn't win this Open, because Mark Richards, right, he has to wait for Jamie Graham to get through his game with Gabriel Clausen, has to wait through this marathon match against Cash Chamness, and then wait Jackson Gore playing Cash Chamness, all while Mark has already made quick work of Colby Shearer, is already sitting in the finals. I didn't see that he was necessarily cold, but it did allow Jackson Gore just to continue to roll on this hot streak that he was on. You could argue that Mark Richards possibly wins that Open event if he doesn't have to sit for very long. That's how good he is playing. He's back to throwing the airmails. I saw him throw one roll bag. I didn't really love it, but everything else, he was shooting the airmails. I'm impressed. Really excited to see. But that brings me finally to Jack Gore. I'm not even going to have time to talk anything about doubles, but that's totally fine with me. Jack Gore, I have the luxury to be able to call some of these regional events here in the Rock Hill area. And this trend that I've been seeing over the past month and a half is that Jack Gore has been emerging as the best player in this region. We're talking about a region that has people like Derek Holland, like some of these top Winthrop players, Spencer Fabianar, Gavin Hammond, Jackson Remick, other ACL pros, Pat Sem. There's just a number of top level, his brother, Jake Gore, competing. Really, really tough field when you look at it from top to bottom. And him emerging as the best player has shown that Jack Gore is back. I think with this win in his first singles title, which is actually kind of surprising considering he finished 5th at the World Championships 3 years ago. I think what this is showing us is that truly Jack Gore is back, and Jack Gore will contend and will go toe-to-toe with Jay Rubin for Comeback Player of the Year across this season. And I think that's a particular race that I'm excited to watch as the year plays out.
Absolutely. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, just real quickly on the singles side, man, Jackson Gore, incredible to watch all day long on that Sunday. And I'll take a line out of Anthony Ion's playbook because he always talks about if you can exceed that 10 or plus PPR and a 0.5 or plus DPR, you are always going to be well on your way to a win. How about overall a 10.31 PPR for Jackson Gore and a 0.52 DPR, a 52% four-bag percentage, and only gave up 11.1 points per game. On the statistical side, it was absolutely incredible to watch. I wish I would have gotten to see more of his games. I know we showed a live stream match earlier in the day between him and Jacob Trzynski, and when he was just hitting every shot, no fear, rolls, airmails, cuts, no matter what, and they were all going in. You thought in the back of your head, like, man, this kid's brewing up something special. He definitely has potential to make a big run today. And then obviously he did. But not only that, when he goes on that big run, defeating Cash Damage and then defeating Mark Richards, he only missed 2 bags in that semifinal match against Cash Damage. He threw an 11-4-3. Granted, it was only over 7 rounds, but still, that's a very impressive feat. And then obviously taking an overall against Mark Richards, it was incredible to watch. I'm super happy for the kid. I also wanted to talk about Colby Shearer because I know you talked about him earlier before the season began. I was on Around the ACL, and we always talked about him teaming up with Matt Wilson. And I flat out said I didn't give him any credit. I said I think Matt Wilson's going to carry him. I was very disappointed with how Colby Shearer performed last season, and I don't think anything's going to change this year. Pretty much just throwing him under the mud. Didn't think he was going to do anything, and he has not forgotten that. He walked up to me throughout the span of the weekend about a dozen times and said, "I'll never forget what you said." And he quoted this. He said, "I'm doing it for Jake Brannon." That's all he said, no matter what. When he won his bracket, he ran over to me at the live stream board and said, "I just won my bracket for Jake Brannon." I said, "We better go win the whole thing." Obviously, he fell up short to Mark Richards, but still a heck of a run. But I want to switch gears, talk about this double side. How about Ryan Wiedenfeld and Eric Davis? I feel like every time we go to one of these opens, and we'll always see some of these unique pairings who don't normally play together, and you always assume they're going to make a big run or be in the end, but then they always end up falling short to a team that we expect to see in the end as well. But not these two. Talk about utter domination overall. Let's see. They took down Cheyenne Bubenheim and Jordan Power 21-2 in their semifinal match in the Final Four, and then defeated another pretty surprising team in Ethan Farias and Tony Forbes in the overall Pro and Elite Doubles Finals. But I mean, these two just had everything in their arsenal. Eric Davis doing Eric Davis things with these ridiculous rolls and airmails. We'll see an Eric Davis shot in his top 10 coming up soon. And then you had Ryan Wiedenfeld, who's just steady as ever. He's down the middle. He can hit a shot when he needs to, but for the most part, he's pretty conservative. I mean, it was just A plus B equals C. That was a perfect matchup for these two, and they took it down in convincing fashion. So you got to give them credit. And then, just going down the list, obviously Cheyenne Bubenheim doing Cheyenne Bubenheim things. Shout out Cheyenne Bubenheim and Gina Ramirez. They had to double dip Dawn Fay and Kirsten Leos who won women's doubles at the previous Open in Hamilton, Ohio. This is only their second time ever playing women's doubles together. They had never lost a game coming into that championship game. They were up 19-0 in game one before Gina and Cheyenne went on a 21-0 run to beat them in game one and then just wax them in game two. So shout out to them. But, man, Gina and Cheyenne, that is a strong team on paper. Logan Dupler is looking as good as ever on the junior side. I just wish he could put something together on the pro and elite singles side. Shout out Fresh Scott, Ricky Jernigan for taking down senior doubles. Damon Dennis could be back on the senior singles side, his first senior win of the season. And then, obviously, you got Ethan Farias, Tony Forbes taking down junior doubles as well. So, all in all, man, shout out to all the winners. This was a really fun Open to watch, one of the biggest ones of the entire season. So this was no easy feat, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Just for the record, Colby Shearer is now the equivalent of Logan Dupler for Trey is for Jake Brandon for Colby Shearer now. So that's the equivalent.
They're both going to prove you wrong. I did write down last week's hot take since I knew we were all going to be on the show together. So Trey was almost right. A title race player will win. You were so close. Mark Richards was right there.
Very close. You could make the argument, though, which I won't. But Eric Davis, so Eric Davis winning a title, he's not there yet. So the hot take is not right. But what I will say is we got to start talking about Eric Davis getting into that title conversation. Now, I believe that was title number 14. No, he's not there yet. At 19, 20, and 21, where we see these top four. But if he keeps winning at a really accelerated rate, he could enter himself into that conversation.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Jake said Ethan was sweeping. Jake, that didn't work out for you. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I saw him a couple times on the live stream court, and he looked good until he didn't really. It just, I mean, the field is so stacked. Being able to not only win a bracket but sweep an entire weekend is something that we may not see for a very long time. So I was really going out on a limb with my hot take.
Yeah, you were.
I would definitely take it back if I could.
And I said Cash and Gavin would win their bracket, so I was wrong, but Cash did win his bracket. So, there's that. Just saying. All right, guys, let's get into our top 10. And of course, we're going to kick it off. This is crazy that Eric Davis's shot is number 10, by the way. That just tells you what's to come. So here we go. Eric Davis with a 2-bag rodeo.
It's going line drive. Oh my goodness, what a rodeo. Big shot for Eric Davis.
Eric Davis, a 2-bag rodeo is number 10. What in the world is happening?
Exactly.
Right? In typical Eric Davis fashion, he seemed upset for some reason, or like something was wrong. It didn't exactly behave how he wanted to. Eric Davis.
Of course, it's always Eric Davis.
Oh, man. All right, number 9, Peyton Mister. He's going to make him clap with a 2-bag drag.
Let's see if Peyton goes up. He is. And he gets him. What a shot.
He almost got the and one with that.
Oh.
Peyton Mister. He's my boy from back home in the Maryland area. He's by far one of the best in the entire state. He almost hit that and one on that backside, and that was pretty cool.
That's close.
Yeah, shout out to him. It was cool seeing him get a clip on here.
This close from getting the and one too, which it wouldn't have been number 9 if you get the and one with a 2-bag drag.
That would have definitely propelled it up the list. All right, number 8, we have Jordan Power with an airmail drag.
Still in. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Peeling.
Peel. Yeah, a little banana peel action going in there.
I was so mad. I was looking through brackets on the computer when he hit that, so I didn't get to see it live. But looking back at that replay, man, it was disgusting.
Disgusting. All right, let's get Cash on. He's going to do a coin slot.
Not yet. I'll go back. Oh, man, I don't know. Oh, he hits a coin slot.
So good.
This won't be the only one from this game. I can guarantee you that.
No.
Watching that live, I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to lay that up for a wash, and then he does that. It blew my mind.
So crazy. All right, Tony Smith with a cut collect.
That right side, Jace does a good job staying skinny, getting around it.
What?
Wow.
So good.
That is gross. That is gross.
I always try to show bias when I'm commentating, but dude, that kid Jace Webb from out of nowhere from the state of West Virginia, he took Tony Smith to the limit in that game. It would have been cool to see him win, but man, Tony Smith doing things like that, it's kind of hard to beat him.
Totally.
All right, yeah. I would say that also that shot by Tony Smith right there kind of looked like, I mean, it wasn't as impressive, but kind of looked like the shot of the year shot from last year too. Kind of all up the side of the board, just drips in the right side. I mean, gross.
So hard to do. All right, Jaden Ellis with a bar of soap for the win.
He's really far back in the box. He's going at these.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he hits it.
I started jumbling my words. I had no idea what happened. I was too busy worried about his foot placement because he had stepped so far back into the box, but then he hit that. I thought that was for sure going to be at least number 2 when he hit that at the time. But, dude, it's such a good shot for the win. It looked like Trey Ryder hitting one of those bar soaps against me yesterday.
Yeah,
Now
you're thinking.
Not for the win.
Yeah, that's true. Not for the win. For the loss for me, but.
For the loss.
No, it was what. Sometimes these shots are getting so good, like my brain isn't able to process exactly what happened instantaneously. Yeah. You're like, it's for the win type of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
It's crazy.
That was one of those. Eric Davis was all the time. I'm like, what just happened? I don't even understand. Jacob Trzynski with a double bar of soap.
He's got slick side down. He's going at it.
Oh
he hits it.
Gosh.
It's a double bar of soap for Jacob Trzynski.
Those were in the hole. He was like,
"That's a double soap."
I just thought he was going push. I thought he was going normal push collect, and then he does that.
He knew something else. Jackson Gore with an airmail drag.
It's super aggressive from Jackson Gore. He's going up, and he hits the drag.
Gosh.
Get the heck out of here, Jackson Gore.
Airmail
Get the heck out of here.
Airmail drag sounds like nothing compared to everything we've said, but there was a microscopic part of the bag over the hole.
It wasn't over the hole at all.
Yeah.
I saw him stepping out, and I just thought, okay, this is a really dumb shot selection. What the heck is he doing out here? And then he does that.
I know it was same lane side, but again, I like drawing analogies, it kind of reminiscent of the Brandon Selmeyer Woodchucks airmail for the win from teams a few years ago, right? Just kind of clips it and gets that thing to flip all the way over.
Bananas. All right, number 2, Cash. Let's bring him back for a bar of soap.
He's got slick side down. He is going for this bar of soap from Cash, and he hit it! Big shot for Cash.
That was bananas too.
That's, I mean, I didn't see it. It's tough to see sometimes when we don't see like the placement, but like I wasn't thinking bar of soap at all, just based on how the bags were laying. And then I think, Jake, you said it right before. I was like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden he launches it, and I could not, my mouth wide open sitting on my couch watching this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm realizing that most of these shots, I anticipate they're going to do something different before they actually do it, because there's no way they're going to attempt this, right? And then they do it and they hit it.
That's what makes it so good. But that wasn't number 1. Number 1 goes to Jimmy Humans with the 10-point bar soap.
No doubt.
I mean, you may get. Let's see what he's going to slick side down. This could be crazy.
Going
he's
at
going
it.
hard at it.
Oh,
Oh my
and
goodness!
one.
Are you kidding me, Jimmy Humans? Hey, I'm sorry. One more winners bracket.
There we go. There it is.
Jimmy Humans doesn't suck.
What a classic T-shirt.
This
People
shot
don't realize
happened-
how old that is. How old that T-shirt is.
Oh, yeah. My dad has one of those T-shirts from way back
Yeah.
when.
That's amazing.
That shot happened early Friday night, first live stream of the entire weekend. And as soon as he hit that, I was like, okay, well, there's your number 1. Good luck trying to find 2 through 10. There was nothing going to top that. A bar of soap for a 10 spot when you're down 13-10 is ridiculous.
Outrageous. All right, let's get into our top 10. This is current standings as of today. Our number 1 team right now is Sammy Soto and Gavin Cano. Number 2, Quinn Reeves and Austin Waskow. Tied for 2, Ethan Walker and Cody Henderson. And then we have quite a few tied for 4th. So Jordan Kamba, Eric Zockline, Ryan Wiedenfield, Ryan Smith, Mason Trader, Cash Chamness, Justin Burton Jr., Logan Chamberlain, Jamie Graham, and Jacob Brzezinski. And then coming in tied at 9th, we have Mark Richards and Tony Smith, Jay Rubin and Ryan Trader, and Jordan Power and Cheyenne Bubenheim. That is your top, technically, 11. Trey, quick thoughts before we get into some other rankings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of early. We kind of talked about this with, our singles rankings last week, but you're going to have some, mismatch here until we get true into the signature season. Just a few things of note. Sammy Soto and Gavin Cano showing that they have at least the staying power to be considered a top 5 team. Going to be interesting to see if they can stay there. Same thing with Quinn Reeves and Austin Waskow. Right now, they are significantly overperforming where I expect them to be. I still expect them to be a top 20 team. For them to stay at number 2 would be very, very impressive for me. Most everything else seems on par. Trader and Chamness, again, I think once we get into the signature season, being able to see how they perform is going to be a really big testament to ultimately how good of a team that they can be. The back half of this list is really filled with the people that we kind of expect to be at the top half of the list once we kind of get through the main signature season. The only one that's kind of missing that everybody's kind of paying attention to, mostly because Jeremiah Ellis is not traveling to a ton of these opens, at least earlier in the season, is Jeremiah Ellis and Devin Harbaugh. I think that's the significant miss right now from when we're looking at these rankings, but I have no doubt that when it comes signature time, when we talk about end of the season, those guys are going to be there.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised, and there's no way of saying that sounding like I think they stink, but Quinn Reeves and Austin Waskow at 2, I feel like I haven't really seen a lot from them. Granted, I've only been to 2 opens this season, but I have not had them on my broadcast court once. So to see them at number 2 is kind of surprising to me. Alluding to what Trey said, I think they're overperforming right now. I think they'll drop down once the signature season starts, but shout out to them. Quinn Reeves, Austin Waskow in my top 10. I like Ethan Walker and Cody Henderson up there as well. I think they are kind of underperforming for my standards right now. I think they have a lot of potential as the season progresses. Once they kind of work out some of those kinks in their teammate chemistry, we kind of saw them go through some of that on the doubles broadcast this weekend. I really like the Ethan Walker and Cody Henderson team as the season progresses. Moving down the list, Ryan Wiedenfeld, Ryan Smith. We talked about Ryan Smith last week on Around the ACL, one of the best doubles players of all time. So Ryan Wiedenfeld, Ryan Smith looking to make another big splash in the pro division on the doubles side. Moving down the list, I expect Jamie Graham and Jacob Brzezinski to scoot up a little bit, even though they are technically tied for 4th. They are my pick to be the number 1 team in the country. Mark Richard, Tony Smith, no surprise. Jay Rubin, Ryan Trader, no surprise. Jordan Power, Cheyenne Bubenheim, some may treat this as a surprise, but I love how they performed this past weekend in Richmond. If they can string a couple of those finishes together, they will for sure solidify their spot in the top 10 for the rest of the season. But yeah, like you mentioned, the only real team that I'm not seeing on there, obviously, Jeremiah Ellis and Devin Harbaugh. Once the busy season is over at Jeremiah's job, I'm sure we'll see him out there quite a bit more, and they will skyrocket up those rankings. But yeah, not too many surprises on this list, to say the least.
All right, not too many surprises, but let's see if any of these are surprising. I'll give you a doubles team and a ranking. You tell me if they're underrated, overrated, or properly rated. We did this with singles last week, but let's dive into doubles. The first one, Philip Lopez Jr. and Steven Bernasek at number 18, Trey.
Really tough. I am actually going to go underrated, which is going to be probably a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people. I still think this is a top 15 team, a team last year that made the Final Four of the Doubles World Championship. They're consistent. They're methodical. They frustrate a lot of teams when they play. Really high ceiling team. They're going to be consistent. They're also a really high floor team, which is great. I think they're better than 18.
Jake?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I believe they 100% have top 10 potential. So I'm definitely going to go underrated. I think once we get closer to those signatures, I think you're going to start seeing them pop up on our live feeds a lot more. Super methodical, super slow. They know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to win the big game. So I think, again, another one of those teams where this early season struggles are just working out their kinks right now. And once the season progresses, once we get past that new year, you're going to be seeing them a lot more. So, yeah, underrated for sure.
Another team coming in at number 18, Jalen Jones and Isidro Herrera, Trey.
This is the hardest one on the list for me. Jones and Herrera they can be near the top. They've shown it. They made a Final Four, the shootout doubles last year. Really conflicted on this one. I am going to go overrated. I think they will be in the 20s. Wouldn't surprise me if they sneak in the teens, but if I start to lay out teams of how they would be ranked, I find it tough to keep them in the top 20 based on what I'm anticipating. They have the talent to get there. I think it solely is going to rely on the performance of Jalen Jones. I'll say a little bit overrated.
Jake?
I found myself changing my mind on this quite a few times. I can push for them being underrated. I can push for them being overrated. And because of all that, I think I kind of landed on properly rated at that 18 spot. Give or take a few spots. I could put them maybe to 15 or 16, but I could also drop them back to 21 or 22. I think they have a lot of potential that we saw last year. Individually, both players are exceeding very well at the highest level. Put them together, and what do you get? Who knows between Jalen Jones and Isidro Herrera? I think they have a lot of potential, and I kind of want to see more out of them. So right now, 18, I think is a pretty good spot. So I'm going to have to go properly rated.
Jeff Reynolds and Lucas Householder at number 22.
I'm going to go overrated here. I think they are, they're going to make some splashes here. This is going to rely heavily on Lucas Householder. Jeff Reynolds has not perennially been a top 20 finishing player. So if you look at that, Householder is going to have to have a really good year. So because of that, I kind of lean toward the fact that this is maybe a 30 type of team rather than all the way up at 22. But Householder really performed well at the rookie showcase. He's going to have to continue to do that during bracket play across the rest of the season. I'm going to go overrated.
Jake?
I was right in the middle between overrated and properly rated. I think Lucas Householder could be a key factor to this team's success. We don't really know a lot about him, but he performed so well at that rookie showcase, and he has a lot of potential. I mean, and Jeff Reynolds has been in the pro division for 94 years, so you know what he's bringing to the table with him. But I think Reynolds has had a really hot start to his campaign, his 2024-2025 season as well. So I may have to go properly rated with this one. I would not be surprised at all if they slot in that top 25 at the end of the season.
Jeff Reynolds is going to come after you now, Jake. You just added him to your list. 94 years, Jeff. Get him. Jacob Gore, Jackson Gore, number 27.
Ooh, sometimes they say you need to put a team together where 2 + 2 = 5. I don't know if 2 + 2 = 10 or -4 when it comes to the Gore brothers. So I have no idea. 27. I kind of have to sit in the middle. I'm going to say properly rated because I just genuinely have no idea. If Jake Gore can start to match the play of his brother and they don't murder each other on the boards, then they will be a top 10 team. Like, they're that good. But that is not a guarantee or an expectation that I can sit here and say with confidence. So I'm going to say properly rated simply because I have no unearthly idea.
Jake?
I mean, it's so weird to me because their talent, it really feels like it flip-flops every single season. 2 years ago, Jackson was performing better. Last year, Jake made a broadcast for pro singles and finished in the top 15 in the pro singles standing. And now Jackson Gore comes out and wins a freaking Open while Jake is, I believe, struggling mentally still with this no step over rule because of his, I would say, erratic throw. I don't know. They went They went 0-4 in rounders in Rock Hill and then 0-2 in their bracket overall in the first Open of this season. I think they went either 5-1 or 4-2 last weekend in Richmond, but then still had a lackluster performance in the bracket again. They can mess around and win an Open, or they're going to go 0-2 again multiple other times, which we've already seen this year. So it really is a crapshoot. You really are just closing your eyes, throwing some dice, and seeing where they land, and that's where they're going to finish in that tournament. So I guess they're properly rated, but when we check back up with these standings, they could either be in 56th place or they could also be in 5th place in the standings. So who knows? Don't know.
Jeremy Schermerhorn and Joe Niestead at number 39.
I'm going to go underrated here. I like the energy that they bring, and I think that energy and the team chemistry that they're going to have together is going to rival what they had a few years ago. We're talking about a team that was borderline top 5, 10 in the world a few years ago. I do think they've fallen off a little bit, but are they going to finish better than 39th? Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty dramatic fall off, in my opinion, to go from a top borderline 10 team all the way to 39th. If they sit 25th, 30th, I think that's pretty reasonable, and because of that, I think they're an underrated team.
Jake?
See, I went properly rated, but I also went on it based off of recency bias. Both players had extremely lackluster seasons last year, albeit with different pro partners. And you are bringing back a team who didn't have top 10 caliber stuff a couple of years ago when they were playing together. But still, I mean, 5 Opens in, haven't seen a ton out of them yet. So I'm kind of still apprehensive about them until they get a solid run at one of these finishes. So I kind of have to go properly rated with this 39 standings. I mean, just because of the recency bias, but neither of them performed very well last year, and they haven't proven to me yet that they've made adjustments in their game to boost their status as of right now. So I got to go properly rated.
Last one, Caleb Batson and Alex Hicks at number 50.
Put it on a t-shirt, properly rated. This team is underperforming. They're playing way worse than they should. They're a better team. So not a chance, prove it, whatever slogan you want to give this team to get their into shape, figure it out. Right now, you're the 50th ranked team in the world, and that's where you deserve to be. You're better than that. Play better than that. Or else this season is going to go similarly to last season, which I think both of those two players would view as a disappointment, right? These two are too good right now to be playing the way that they are. So I am properly rating them at 50 until I see something otherwise that changes my mind.
Jake?
Have either of you guys watched Survivor?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
No? Okay. Well, Trey's watched Survivor. This team reminds me of that one tribe that hasn't won a challenge in days. They have no fire-making kit. They have no flint. They have no food. They have no water. They have to figure out a way with using just the resources on their island to get a fire going and to catch food and get clean drinking water. Because right now, they got nothing. So they should be back home working, trying to find anything to start a fire to get them going. That's what they need to be doing, because if they can get that fire going, they can skyrocket up those rankings. But right now they have nothing. They need to do something mentally or on the boards together, because right now I think they're also properly rated at 50. And there's nothing, they have done nothing to prove to me that they belong anywhere higher than that.
They just need some flint. Get them some flint.
They just need a flint. They need a
Maybe
flint.
they just need flint.
Lighter fluid.
And that's it.
That's all they need. They just need a flint. That's exactly what they need.
It.
They need to win a reward challenge. They need to get some flints.
Get an immunity idol. Just get something. Yep. Just do something right.
They need a top 5 finish in a bracket at an Open or some event and get the ball rolling, because right now they got nothing. I think Caleb Batson had a pretty decent finish in his singles bracket on Sunday, but besides that, they got nothing. So if you're Caleb Batson, you're Alex Hicks, find yourself a flint, find yourself an immunity idol, and get something going, because he needs something.
All right, Caleb, Alex, give me a call. I can help you out. Good Lord, you just got destroyed. Let me help you. All right, let's get into some questions from our listeners. Trey, this one's for you. Bill Kimbley asked, I rarely hear the new CPI used to rank players. Is that a factor in your rankings? And if so, why? What stats are weighed in the CPIs? Do you see changes coming in the way they're calculated? Does it match your power rankings? All the CPI goodness. Trey, let us know.
Yeah. So again, kind of still behind the scenes being tweaked a little bit. Right now, we're still in the data collection phase on CPI and measuring how it performs over time. So yes, it will be used more, right? But I think the one thing that the ACL doesn't want to do right now is say, this is the best thing ever. Go do it right now. And this is what we're going to use moving forward. What we want to do is we wanted to put it out there for people to start getting their eyes on it and start understanding how it's going to be used in the future, so that people can also get feedback on it. We can gather feedback on it. We can see trends over time, because we just didn't want to start making decisions saying, okay, it's going to go by this metric and that's the end all be all, if it wasn't actually properly measuring how people would do over time and how it would change over time. So yes, we're still keeping an eye very heavily on CPI, but we're also not, specifically, making it the end all be all at this very time. So yes, still keeping up with it. Yes, planning to develop around it. We just got a little bit of ways to go on the data collection side. Yeah,
we're excited for it. That makes sense. All right, Jake, I'm going to give this one to you. John Moreno said, in the round limited format matches, do you think having a 4-bagger should count as 1 point? It would incentivize more blocking and shot making, not just bag running. Oh, you're muted. I'm sure what you're saying is great.
So
there
sorry.
You go.
I got my dogs in here and they're kind of going crazy, so I gotta do I've never actually thought about it like that before. I don't know if I would really like that. I'm kind of a cornhole purist. Like I enjoy the idea of a round limited game just because it brings a different aspect to it. But now you think about changing the rules around it. I don't hate it, but I feel like it would definitely take some getting used to. Having a 4-bagger count as 1 point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be pretty cool.
It'd be another game. Cool. This is like a third version of this game.
It would be like a different version of it. I think it could be cool to try a test run somewhere and get feedback from players. But I mean, I don't know. I kind of just enjoy how the round limited format is now. But I mean, it's definitely an idea to think about for sure. All
right. Eric Mickelson said, does Michelle Thompson or Trey ever plan on coming to the Badgerland Bag Brawl in Wisconsin? I'm going to go with, I already travel about 15 to 20 times a year. That's why I don't go to any other events. So that's probably going to be a no for me. I cannot add any more travel at this point.
I think, I don't know. I'll never say never. It's not on my calendar for 2025, but I'll never say never.
It would have to coincide with me already being there or something for an ACL event, because I just cannot fathom in my brain any more travel. Okay, let's go to, we have some app or wallet questions. Stephen Douglas, would you ever consider using the ACL app for sit and goes at HQ at Worlds next summer? Trey?
Whoa. You guys don't like Madden screaming into a microphone for 7 days straight?
Let me say his exact sentence. The current system of running them by hand is far from ideal. That was a nice way of saying it, though, wasn't it?
Oh, come on. That's it's part of the aspect of the World Championship. You walk in, you get a packed Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. You walk through Vendor Alley. You go get a Chick-fil-A sandwich from the concession stands. And then you go to HQ and listen to Madden yell into a microphone for 2 hours while you play cornhole. It's part of the aspect of the World Championship.
Look, I'll put it this way. I'll say this much. It's a fight every year because we wanted to go through there, and Madden is not having it. So it's
hashtag
probably
free Madden.
I don't know. Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe it's literally nothing other than it's Madden time, and Madden time is its own brand and its own vibe. At all these other events, like all the sit and goes that we do, at all these opens, is all done through the app. So maybe we'll see.
That's funny. Hunter Thorson said, will wallet sharing player to player be available soon?
Yeah, so the good news is that we have the tech ready. It's available. We can actually do it on our back end and do that very easily. The issue that we're having is that it's a security issue. And there's a lot of infrastructure in there to make sure that that is, viable and legal. And let's just say that we've had many and many fraud conversations and discoveries over the past, 6 months when it comes to the wallet. And so we just need to make sure it's the most secure thing possible, because we just don't want people in a tough situation where it's like, hey, I'm going to go transfer this money to, somebody else, but you didn't authorize it. And now that person just took all your digital wallet money and now they've cashed it out. So we can't do anything about it. It's more so from the player perspective, making sure the security is there. If you think about it, if you want to Venmo somebody, you have to go into that app. You have to do a lot of things. There's a lot of security measures, and they're set up to be a payment processor like that. Now, what I will say about the wallet is I know a lot of people have complained about the wallet and the payment processor that we use for the wallet. That is going to change, which is good. And hopefully it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker, which everybody is saying, for wallet payments to happen and make it easier for everybody. I think everybody is going to be excited to do that. We will be rolling that out in Q1 of 2025. So very short turnaround time for us to be able to do that. But we're hoping that makes it a lot easier for everybody to stomach and to handle. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Makes sense. And then is there anywhere in the ACL app or website that players can find out the amount of entry fees being paid into a tournament and paid out?
Not from a public visibility perspective at this point. Although that I think that is on our tech roadmap to include that as a possible visible feature for that to be public, but not at this current time. You can't go in and see some type of a registration for an event and see what the entry fees are. No, you can't. I mean, in fairness, you could do that math, right? You could say there's 25 people registered for this event. Everybody paid the same entry fee. It is what it is, but there's not necessarily that explicitly is saying this is how much has been collected.
And last question, are there any plans to make pre-registration visible to players before events?
Yeah, it's on the tech roadmap. I don't have a timeline for it, but certainly there's a lot of things on our tech roadmap, and the ACL, this will be the biggest investment year that we will have in technology coming up in 2025. I got more to come on that. I mentioned that last time, but there will not be a year in the history of the ACL that more money will be devoted to technology than this coming year.
That was very exciting. All right, time for hot takes. You got one, Trey?
I do. I kind of alluded to it, but I believe that by the end of the year, this season, we are now talking about a 5-man title race and not a 4-man title race. Eric Davis gets into the conversation. I say he gets up to 18 titles this year that at least has him part of the conversation. That means he needs 4 more by the end of the year, and I'm confident that he can make it happen.
Yeah, that actually doesn't sound hot when you say it that way. You're right. Crazy the way the way Eric's been playing. All right, Jake, what you got?
Off the top of my head, I'll come up with one. I'm going to stay on the same page with the Survivor talk.
Okay.
I think that Caleb Batson and Alex Hicks, I think they win a reward challenge. I think they get that Flint, and I think they will finish inside the top 25 in pro doubles.
These analogies are right over my head. No clue. Never seen Survivor.
You got to watch it. It's a great show.
There is not a show that I would want to be on less. Just saying. Just gonna put that out there. Okay.
No way.
Maybe you guys want to be on it. That is just not for me. All right, Trey, you talked earlier about the comeback player of the year being between Jackson Gore and Jay Rubin. I'm giving it to Jay Rubin. I think Jay Rubin's going to take that one at the end of the season. So that is my hot take. All right, guys, that's all we got time for. We'll see you all next time. Thanks so much for joining us.